The Saturday field trip was supposed to be calm, peaceful, and simple. The teachers planned a nature walk around Lakeside Park, a place filled with tall trees, soft wind, and a long wooden path near the water. Students walked in small groups, laughing, taking pictures, and enjoying the break from schoolwork. In the middle of the crowd was Maya, a quiet black girl with a bright red hoodie and a shy smile. She liked nature more than people and felt safe among trees and water. But not everyone shared her peace. A few steps behind her walked Chase, the tallest boy in 8th grade. He wore a green varsity jacket, expensive sneakers, and a smile that fooled adults but scared students. Chase loved attention, even if it meant hurting someone. He especially liked picking on those who stayed silent. And Maya was silent most of the time. She never fought back. She never insulted him. She just looked away, hoping he would leave her alone. But that only made Chase feel stronger. As the group walked closer to the lake, a few students whispered nervously. Lakeside Park had a strange rumor attached to it. Kids believed the pond was home to piranha fish, even though no one had actually seen them. The story started years ago, and younger students still believed it. Even though teachers kept saying it was only a story, the rumor stayed alive like it had its own heartbeat. Chase loved rumors. They made things more exciting for him. Maya stepped ahead to look at her reflection in the quiet water. The sun painted everything in soft gold, and the wind carried small ripples across the surface. Maya liked moments like this. She felt free from noise, comments, and unwanted attention. For a short second, she forgot Chase existed. But Chase had been watching her the entire walk. "Hey, Maya," he called from behind, pretending he wanted to talk. She turned slowly, unsure what he wanted now. He wore that same grin, the one that meant trouble. Before she could even step back, he moved closer. "You walk too slow. Maybe the lake can teach you to move faster," he said. Maya blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" Chase did not answer. He pushed her. It was sudden, sharp, and unexpected. Maya's arms flew up in the air as her body tilted backward. Students gasped. Some froze. Others shouted. Maya's red hoodie flashed against the sunlight as she fell toward the water, her eyes wide with shock. She hit the surface with a splash, not loud, not violent, but enough to make her breath stop for a moment. Cold water rushed through her sleeves and jeans. The world around her became a blur. She could hear people screaming something she could not understand. Her heart raced, but her mind tried to stay calm. She was scared, but she was not helpless. Her father had taught her how to stay steady in water ever since she was little. She remembered his words: "Panic makes you sink. Calm makes you float." So she floated, letting her body rise, letting the water support her. She kicked gently, turning toward the shallow side. On the bank, Chase laughed loudly, pretending it was just a joke. But the students around him did not laugh with him. "Chase, what is wrong with you?" a boy shouted. "Are you crazy?" a girl cried out. The teachers had been a few steps behind and now ran toward the scene. One of them dropped their backpack and yelled at students to step back from the edge. Maya's head came above the surface. She was breathing fast, but she stayed calm. There was fear in her eyes, yes, but there was also strength, quiet strength. "Maya. Are you okay?" one teacher shouted. She nodded, wiping water from her face. "I'm okay. I'm swimming to the side." The rumor about the piranhas made the other students panic even more. Some covered their mouths. Some backed away. Some prayed. Chase himself suddenly looked uneasy as his joke no longer felt funny. "What if the piranhas are real?" a girl whispered. "They're not," another student replied, but her voice shook. Chase swallowed hard. He did not expect Maya to handle the fall calmly. He expected her to cry, scream, or panic. But instead, she moved through the water with surprising control. For the first time, Chase felt a strange twist inside his stomach, not guilt, not yet, but something close to regret. Maya reached a shallow area and slowly stood up, water dripping from her clothes. She looked exhausted, but she stood straight, refusing to show fear. The teachers rushed to her side, wrapping a towel around her and guiding her away from the water. Behind them, students stared at Chase with cold eyes. "What kind of person does that?" someone said. "You need help," another muttered. Chase looked around, and for the first time in a long time, he felt small. His friends did not stand beside him. No one defended him. The teachers led Maya away from the lake, wrapping her in 2 large towels and guiding her to a bench under the shade of a wide oak tree. Her clothes were soaked, and her hands trembled slightly, but she stayed calm. She never liked attention, and now dozens of eyes were on her. Some were worried, some were angry, and some were simply shocked at what they had just seen. But Maya kept breathing slowly, just like her father taught her. "Deep breaths settle deep waters," he used to say. On the wooden path near the lake, the students whispered in small groups. Some kept glancing at Chase, who stood frozen a few steps from the edge. He tried to hide his nervousness, but his face said everything. His friends had stepped away from him, creating a space around him like he carried something dangerous. A girl named Emily crossed her arms. That was not a joke. He could have hurt her. A boy beside her, Jonah, shook his head. He did hurt her. Look at her clothes. She could have drowned. Chase's jaw tightened. "She's fine. Stop acting like I tried to kill her." But his voice sounded weaker than before. Even he could hear it. Back under the oak tree, Maya sat quietly while the teacher checked her arms for scratches. She was shivering lightly, but her eyes were steady. "Maya, did you swallow any water?" the teacher asked gently. "No, ma'am," Maya said softly. "I know how to float." "You did amazingly well," the teacher replied. "You stayed calm in a very scary moment." Maya gave a small nod. She was thankful someone noticed her strength, not just her silence. Most people only saw the quiet girl who kept to herself. They never saw the girl who helped her father rescue animals on weekends, the girl who learned how to stay calm in storms and deep water, the girl who had more courage than she ever admitted. While Maya warmed up, the park ranger approached the group. He was a tall man with a hat, a clipboard, and a serious expression. He had been informed about the incident and came quickly. "Where is the student who pushed her?" he asked firmly. Students pointed at Chase. The ranger studied him for a moment before speaking. "Young man, you do understand this could have ended in a very bad way, right?" Chase shrugged awkwardly, trying to look bored but failing. "Everyone keeps saying that, but she's okay." "She is okay because she knew what she was doing," the ranger replied sharply. "Not because of you." Chase's face drained of color. The ranger turned to the students. "Let me be very clear. There are no dangerous fish in this pond. No piranhas. That rumor has been around for years, but this lake is safe. Still, pushing someone into water, any water, is extremely dangerous." The students looked at each other, relieved but still upset. The rumor was gone, but the memory of what happened was still fresh. Maya listened quietly from the bench. She had known the rumor was silly, but she never imagined someone would use it as a scare tactic. She wrapped the towel tighter around her shoulders, not because she was cold anymore, but because she felt the weight of everyone's attention on her. The ranger continued, "We have fish here, yes, but they are part of a research study. They are harmless unless disturbed." Some kids sighed with relief. Others blushed, embarrassed they ever believed the rumor. But none of that changed what Chase did. A teacher walked over to Chase. "You need to apologize. Now." Chase looked at the ground. His face burned with embarrassment. Apologizing in front of everyone felt like losing. And losing was something he avoided at all costs. But he also felt something he had not felt in a long time: guilt. Real guilt. He walked slowly toward Maya. Every step felt heavier. Students watched closely, whispering. He could feel their eyes piercing through his jacket. Maya lifted her head when she heard footsteps. She saw Chase, hands in his pockets, not looking directly at her. He opened his mouth, but the words stuck. His tongue felt heavy. His throat felt dry. He had said hurtful things many times without thinking, but apologizing was harder than he expected. Finally, he muttered, "I shouldn't have pushed you." Maya blinked. "Why did you do it?" Chase hesitated. He did not want to admit the truth, that he pushed people down to feel taller. It was just a joke. Maya's voice was calm. Hurting people is not a joke. Her words were simple, but they hit harder than anything he expected. Chase swallowed and looked away. Behind him, students nodded in agreement. The teacher stepped forward. "We're not finished discussing your consequences, Chase." A quiet tension filled the space. While everyone focused on Chase, no one noticed the dark patch of mud near the edge of the lake growing softer, wetter, less stable. But Maya did notice. She saw the ground sliding a little with each small wave. And she saw Chase standing too close to it. Her eyes widened. She opened her mouth to warn him. But it was too late. The moment Chase stepped back toward the lake, the soft mud beneath his shoes shifted. He did not notice. He was too busy pretending he was fine, too busy acting like Maya's calm words did not shake him from the inside. The students watched him closely, waiting for what the teachers would decide. Chase wanted to appear unaffected, stronger than their judgment. But the ground had its own plans. The mud sank under his weight. His shoes slid forward. His body jerked. Before he could react, Chase slipped. His arms flailed in the air, and the students gasped as he fell backward into the water with a loud splash, almost the exact way Maya had fallen earlier. Only this time, no one pushed him. This time, the lake pulled him in itself. Water splashed high into the air as Chase kicked wildly, trying to get his head up. Unlike Maya, who had entered the water with calm and control, Chase entered with panic and fear. His face twisted in shock, and he yelled loudly enough for the birds in the trees to fly away. "Help! Somebody help me! I can't get up!" Students rushed to the edge, but the teachers held them back. "Stay away from the water," one shouted. "It's slippery." The ranger stepped forward quickly, his eyes scanning the situation. Chase kept fighting the water, making it harder to stay afloat. His fear of the Piranha rumor exploded inside his mind, even though the ranger had just explained the truth minutes earlier. Fear does not listen to facts. Fear builds its own story. Chase splashed and thrashed, and the students watched, stunned. For many of them, it was the first time they had ever seen Chase scared. Truly scared. Emily covered her mouth. "He thinks the piranhas are coming," she whispered. Jonah nodded. He believed the rumor more than anyone. Meanwhile, Maya watched from the bench under the oak tree. She still wore the towels, her clothes dripping wet underneath. Her eyebrows lowered with concern as she saw Chase's arms reaching helplessly above the water. Even after everything he had done, she felt a tightness in her chest. Her teacher noticed her reaction. "Maya, stay seated. You're still cold." But Maya stood up anyway. She stepped toward the crowd gathering near the edge. Students parted for her when she approached, not because they were scared of her, but because something about her presence felt calm, steady, in control. The exact opposite of Chase. Through his splashing, Chase shouted again, voice cracking in panic. "Somebody do something. I'm serious. I'm really serious. Please." His words echoed painfully across the lake. The ranger shouted, stop fighting the water. Settle down and float on your back. But Chase could not even hear instructions anymore. His fear was too loud inside his head. The students watching grew emotional. Some felt guilty. Some felt confused. Others felt angry because Chase had learned nothing from what he did to Maya, until now. Until this exact moment. And Maya felt something no one expected. Something she could not ignore. Compassion. She knew what fear felt like. She knew what it was like to be pushed, ignored, judged, and laughed at. She knew what it felt like to have people watch your struggle from a distance. She could not watch someone drown in fear, even if he was the one who had pushed her. She stepped forward. "Chase," she called out. Her voice was strong enough to carry over the water. Chase heard it. His head snapped toward her, eyes wide with terror. "Maya. Please. I don't want to, I can't, help me." Maya did not panic. She stayed steady, just like her father taught her. She did not touch the water yet, she stood on the safe part of the shore. "Stop kicking," she said calmly. "You're making it harder for yourself." Chase coughed. I can't." "Yes, you can," Maya said. "Just like I did. You saw me do it. You can float too." Her voice broke through the noise in his head. It was quiet, but powerful. The ranger nodded approvingly. "Listen to her, son. She knows what she's doing." Chase froze for a second. He forced himself to stop flailing. His body slowly settled into the water. He floated unevenly at first, then steadier. He still breathed fast and shaky, but it was enough to keep him stable. Maya looked around and spotted a long fallen tree branch near the ground. She grabbed it firmly and walked closer to the edge, carefully staying on the dry soil. She extended the branch. "Grab this." Chase reached out with shaking hands and clutched the branch like it was the last lifeline in the world. "Good," Maya said softly. "Now let me pull you." Slowly, steadily, Maya pulled backward while Chase held tight. The ranger helped her at the last few steps, guiding Chase toward stable ground. He collapsed onto his knees, coughing and shaking. His jacket dripped heavily, and his eyes were red, not from the water, but from the fear he had never experienced before. Students stood silent. Maya had saved him. The same girl he pushed into the water. The same girl he laughed at. The same girl he thought was weak. And now, she was the strongest one among them. Chase sat on the muddy ground, shivering and coughing, his clothes drenched and heavy with lake water. His green varsity jacket clung to him like a reminder of the person he had been, loud, confident, and careless. But now, that jacket did not bring pride. It brought shame. Students watched in silence. For the first time since they arrived at the park, nobody whispered, nobody joked, nobody smirked. They had witnessed something unbelievable, Maya saving the very person who hurt her minutes earlier. The ranger stepped closer to Chase, kneeling down to check on him. "You're breathing fine," he said gently. "You're just scared." Chase did not respond. His chest rose and fell quickly as he tried to steady himself. His hands trembled, and he gripped the damp earth as if he needed to feel something solid beneath him. One teacher approached, placing a blanket around Chase's shoulders. "You're safe now," she said softly. Chase shut his eyes tightly, but a tear still slipped down his cheek. He had never cried in front of anyone. Not even once at school. But fear has a way of breaking the strongest mask. And in that moment, Chase was not a tough guy. He was not a leader. He was not powerful. He was just a scared boy who realized how fragile life truly was. A small group of students stood together, unsure of what to do. Emily whispered, "I can't believe it." Maya saved him. Jonah nodded. "It takes real strength to help someone who hurt you." No one disagreed. Meanwhile, Maya stood a few steps away, her towel wrapped tightly around her shoulders, her damp hair sticking to her cheeks. She watched Chase quietly. Her face held no anger, no victory, no smug expression. Just concern. She could have walked away. She could have ignored him. But she did not. Even after everything he did, she could not watch anyone suffer, not even him. The ranger stood and addressed the group. Everyone listen up. What happened here needs to be understood clearly. The students turned their attention to him. The lake is not dangerous. There are no harmful fish here, he repeated. What happened to Chase was not nature punishing him. It was simply fear and bad footing. Chase opened his eyes, staring at the ground. But his breathing slowed as he listened. Fear becomes real when you believe in it, the ranger continued. And today, Chase learned something the hard way. The teacher beside him crossed her arms. We all did. A few students nodded quietly. The ranger looked back at Chase. Son, you need to understand something. What Maya showed today is courage. Real courage. You owe her your thanks, and more than that, you owe her change. Chase swallowed hard. He wanted to speak, but the words felt too heavy. He looked up slowly, his eyes searching for Maya. When he finally saw her, his voice cracked. Maya, why did you help me? His question hung in the air like a slow-moving cloud. Maya stepped forward, her expression calm and honest. Because it was the right thing to do. Chase blinked, surprised by her simple answer. You were scared, Maya added softly. I know what that feels like. Her words pierced deeper than anything else he had felt today. Chase lowered his head, unable to meet her eyes again. The teacher helped him to his feet. His legs shook a little, and he leaned on her shoulder for support. Maya watched him carefully, making sure he was stable. She had no interest in seeing anyone hurt anymore. Not after everything that happened. As Chase stood, the students around him stepped back, not in fear, but in realization. They saw a different Chase now, stripped of his loudness and pride. They saw a boy who looked smaller, not because of his height, but because he finally faced consequences he never imagined. Two students approached Maya. Are you okay? Emily asked softly. Maya nodded. I'm okay. You were really brave, Jonah added. I don't think anyone else could have helped him the way you did. Maya looked down shyly. Compliments always made her uncomfortable. I just did what I had to do. Behind them, Chase heard every word. Their praise for Maya burned in his chest, not because he was jealous, but because he knew he deserved none of the kindness she showed him. He slowly walked toward Maya. The crowd went quiet again. I'm really sorry, Chase said, his voice shaking. Not just for pushing you. For everything. I shouldn't have treated you the way I did. Maya looked at him calmly. I accept your apology. Chase's eyes widened slightly. Just like that? Maya shrugged softly. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It means moving forward. Her answer hit him harder than the fall into the water. The ranger stepped in. Chase, you will still face consequences for your actions. But what you do next will decide who you become. Chase nodded slowly. I want to be better. For the first time, his voice sounded honest. Students exchanged glances. Some doubted him. Some felt hopeful. Some were simply relieved the drama was settling. But no one could deny one truth anymore. The bully they once feared had become the boy everyone pitied. And the girl he once pushed down had risen far above him, through kindness, courage, and strength. And the day was far from over. The field trip continued, but nothing felt the same anymore. Even the wind seemed quieter, as if nature itself was still processing what had happened by the lake. Students walked in small groups, whispering about Chase's fall and Maya's bravery. Every few minutes, someone looked at Maya with admiration. For many, this was the first time they truly saw her, not the quiet girl who kept to herself, but the girl who showed courage when it mattered the most. Maya walked slowly along the path, wrapped in her towel, her clothes still a little damp. A teacher stayed by her side, checking if she was warm enough. She nodded politely, but her mind was far away. She kept thinking about Chase, how scared he looked, how he begged for help, and how he clung to the branch as if the world depended on it. She never wanted to see anyone that afraid. Not even someone who had hurt her. A few steps behind her, Chase walked alone. His shoulders were slumped, and the blanket around him dragged slightly on the ground. Students who once followed him now kept their distance, unsure what to say. He looked smaller than anyone had ever seen him, his confidence gone, replaced by something unfamiliar, humility. Every time he glanced at Maya, he felt his stomach twist. He had pushed her into the water, laughed about it, and made her a target for months, yet she saved him without hesitation. He could not understand why. And that question followed him like a shadow. Finally, during a break under a cluster of tall trees, Chase gathered the courage to approach her again. His steps were slow, nervous, unsure. "Maya," he said quietly. She looked up, brushing a wet curl behind her ear. "Yes." Chase swallowed, looking down at his shoes. "I know I said sorry before, but it didn't feel like enough." Maya remained silent, listening. "I didn't just scare you today," Chase continued. "I scared myself. I didn't know. I didn't know fear could feel like that. I thought it only happened to other people. People who were weaker." Maya raised an eyebrow slightly. "Do you still think that?" Chase shook his head firmly. "No. Not anymore." He rubbed his forehead, struggling to find the right words. "I always thought being tough meant acting like nothing bothered me. Or making other people scared of me. But when I fell in that water, all that toughness disappeared. And you didn't hesitate. You didn't wait for someone else. You just helped." Maya's voice was calm and steady. "You were afraid. I've been afraid too. Fear isn't something to laugh at." Chase's eyes softened. "I didn't know you could understand that." "I do," she said simply. A silence passed between them, soft, honest, and necessary. The teacher called out for everyone to gather for lunch, but Chase did not move. He looked at Maya again, his voice quieter. "I want to change. I really do." Maya studied his face, searching for even a hint of pretended confidence. She found none. Only a boy who finally saw his own mistakes. "You can," she said gently. "But it's a choice you make every day. Not just today." Chase nodded slowly, as if absorbing each word carefully. Students began sitting down at the picnic tables. Maya headed toward an empty spot, but something surprising happened. Emily and Jonah waved her over. "Maya. Sit with us." Emily called out. For the first time ever, Maya did not hesitate. She walked toward them and took a seat. They welcomed her with smiles, offering her snacks, hot chocolate, and warm conversation. It felt nice. It felt different. It felt like belonging. Chase stood alone a few feet away, watching her join the group. He felt a heavy ache in his chest that was not sadness, but realization. People gravitated toward kindness. Strength. Courage. Maya had all of it, even if she never tried to show it. After a long moment, Maya turned and noticed Chase standing alone. Their eyes met, and instead of looking away, she gave him a small nod. It was a simple gesture, but it carried a powerful message. "You can sit with us too. You are not invisible. You are not alone." Chase hesitated, unsure if he deserved it. But Maya nodded again, gentle, welcoming, forgiving. Emily stared as he approached. Jonah looked stunned. But they did not argue, not after what they witnessed. Chase sat down slowly at the end of the table. He did not take the center seat he always claimed before. He took the last one, quietly. And for the first time, no one rolled their eyes or sighed. Jonah offered him a bottle of water. "You okay?" he asked. Chase nodded. Trying to be. Emily looked between him and Maya. "Well, you're alive. That's something." Chase let out a small, shaky laugh. "Yeah. Thanks to Maya." Everyone glanced at her. Maya looked down, embarrassed. "I just did what anyone would do." Emily shook her head. "Not everyone would. But you did." Lunch felt different that day. The usual cliques blended. The tension faded. The laughter sounded lighter. And the air felt warmer, even though the earlier moments had been filled with fear and panic. As they packed up to continue the trail, Chase noticed something quietly powerful. For the first time ever, he was walking beside people, not in front of them. And for the first time ever, Maya walked without fear. She had made her choice. Not to hate. Not to hurt. But to heal. And that choice changed everything. When the students returned to school on Monday, the story of the field trip had already spread through the halls like wind through open doors. Everyone had heard at least one version. Maya saved Chase's life. Chase fell into the lake and panicked. Chase pushed Maya first. But the version students believed most was the one that truly mattered. Maya showed courage, and Chase showed fear. Maya walked through the hallway with her backpack held close to her chest. Usually, she blended into the background, unnoticed by most. But today, students stepped aside to let her pass. A few even smiled at her, offering a small nod of respect. It felt strange, almost unreal, but not uncomfortable. For the first time, being seen did not feel like a burden. Emily and Jonah caught up to her near her locker. "We saved a spot for you at lunch," Emily said cheerfully. Maya smiled. "Thanks. I'll be there." Standing a few lockers away, Chase overheard the conversation. He watched Maya from a distance, his heart beating faster with mixed emotions, respect, guilt, gratitude, and something new, determination. He wanted to fix things. He wanted to be better. And he knew it would take time. He approached her slowly. "Maya, can we talk for a minute?" Emily and Jonah looked unsure, but Maya nodded. "Sure." The three stepped aside to give Chase and Maya space. Chase rubbed the back of his neck, nervous. His voice was softer than anyone had ever heard. "Since the field trip, I keep thinking about what you did. You could have walked away. You could have let someone else help. But you didn't." Maya listened quietly. "I want to say thank you," Chase continued. "Not just for pulling me out. But for showing me who I actually was." Maya tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "I used to think strength meant being loud. Being in control. Making people scared, so I never had to feel that way." He paused, swallowing. "But the lake changed everything. Fear hit me like a wall I couldn't break. And everyone I pushed away, they weren't there for me. Only you were." Maya's eyes softened. "Everyone feels fear. Even strong people." Chase nodded. "And you're stronger than anyone gave you credit for." He took a breath. "I want to be different now. I want to earn people's trust, and yours too." Maya considered his words carefully. She was not naive. She knew words meant little without actions. "You can," she said. "It takes time. But you can." Chase lowered his head, relieved. "Thank you, for giving me a chance." Maya smiled gently. "Everyone deserves a chance to change. A silence settled between them, peaceful and warm. During lunchtime, the cafeteria buzzed with energy. Maya sat with Emily, Jonah, and two other students she rarely spoke to before. They laughed together, shared snacks, and talked about homework and weekend plans. For the first time, Maya felt like she belonged, not because she changed, but because people finally saw who she really was. Halfway through lunch, she noticed Chase sitting alone at a corner table. He stared at his food more than he hesitated but stood slowly. Students watched as he walked with Maya across the cafeteria. Some whispered. Some frowned. Some nodded approvingly. Emily raised her eyebrows as they approached. Chase. Sitting with us. Maya nodded once. Yes. Emily looked at Chase's nervous expression, then sighed. Fine. But no bossy behavior. Chase shook his head quickly. No, none of that. He sat down at the end of the table. The conversation was awkward at first, but eventually, he joined in a little, listening more than he spoke. He laughed once at Jonah's joke, quietly, but genuinely. For the first time in his school life, Chase felt something he had been missing for years. Normal. Safe. Included. Not because he demanded it. But because he earned it. The principal learned what happened during the field trip and requested a special school assembly. A week later, hundreds of students filled the auditorium. Chase stood on the stage beside Maya. His hands shook, but he took a deep breath and stepped forward to the microphone. He looked at the crowd, people he once tried to impress, people he once mistreated, and people he wished he could start over with. I hurt someone, Chase began. And I was wrong. The room went silent. But she showed me kindness when I didn't deserve any. She helped me when I would not have helped her. He turned to Maya. Thank you for saving me. But also, thank you for teaching me. Maya stepped forward shyly. She did not like the spotlight, but she felt compelled to speak. I don't want to be a hero, she said softly. I just want people to treat each other better. Her voice echoed through the room. Kindness is not weakness. And fear doesn't make you small. What makes us small is hurting others to feel big. The audience listened closely. If Chase can change, anyone can. The auditorium filled with applause, not loud or wild, but warm, honest, and hopeful. That day became a turning point, not just for Chase and Maya, but for the entire school. Students began standing up for each other. Teachers noticed fewer conflicts. People talked more openly, laughed more freely, helped more willingly. And the rumor about the Piranha Lake? It faded away, replaced by a new story. A story about courage. About kindness. About forgiveness. And about a quiet girl who saved more than just one life. She helped change a heart. And sometimes, that is the greatest rescue of all.